Let's take a look at another type of required settings, and these appear in the Preferences tab. Now, similar to the General tab, there is a permission that is required to access the Preferences tab. This permission is enabled automatically when you have the owner admin user role. But if you see this tab grayed out, you may have to double check that you have this clerk permission 872 in order to access the Preferences tab here in the property module. Now, the Preferences tab is kind of a catch-all. There's a lot of different settings that appear here that allow you to control how different functions behave inside Roomkey. So some of the things that we can allow here include your default check-in time and checkout time. These are settings that are set up in the property module and they apply to all settings throughout the database. If you ever have a change, you can do so here in the Preferences tab. And once again, any changes that you make, you want to click Post in the top right-hand corner, and that will save in the database and it will apply to all users. Some other default settings that we have here allow you to control the default setting for the number of adults when you're making a reservation. Some hotels will choose to leave this setting at 0. It means that the front desk agent is required to enter in a number of adults when making a reservation. I do like to recommend having at least one adult as a default number of persons. That way it helps the front desk team when they're making these reservations kind of streamline that process and one less step for them to have to do when creating a reservation. Some other things that you can set up here are regards to the default first month of the year. This would allow you to set your default first month for your reporting purposes, for year-end reporting and month-to-date reporting as well. Sometimes your accounting date might be different from your reporting date. For example, if you wanted to pull a report for a calendar year, you would want to have the default first month of the year set to 1, indicating the first month is January. If your accounting settings are based off of a fiscal year, perhaps starting in June or July, you would want to make sure that this first month of the year reflects that fiscal year setting per your accounting team. Some other preferences that are available here include the default opt-in settings. This is for communication with guests via email. If a guest is providing their email address for the purpose of booking a reservation, you may ask them if they want to opt in to marketing campaigns, and you can have those boxes selected by default, or you can have the front desk agent manually selected. So that's what I've got set up here, is that the front desk agent would need to manually opt into marketing campaigns, but the guest is by default opted into accepting general email. And that general email refers to any confirmation letters or a copy of the guest's final bill at the end of their stay. Now, some of the other settings that appear down here, these do set up based off of the display settings inside Roomkey. So for example, if you wanted to display any group wash or guarantee modules inside the group module, we have those settings available in the lower left-hand corner here. You could also view inventory calendar information, things like the rates inside the inventory calendar. That's a very common one, so I do have it selected here in this example. You can also set your preferences for auto print settings, things like automatically printing a copy of the master folio at checkout or printing a second copy for the guest upon checkout. These two settings are available here. They are deactivated in this demo database because I do not have a printer connected, but many hotels will have that enabled for their front desk computers. And then lastly, we also have some settings that are related to tasks and the messaging center inside Roomkey. This is for internal communication and messages between staff members within the Roomkey system. If you'd like to learn more about how to send messages internally, we do have a really great webinar that was presented earlier, I believe in 2022, that goes over how to send messages between users and log information. But this setting here in the preferences allows you to automatically delete any past or old text, tasks and messages. You can have that set for automatically delete after 30 days, 45 days, or 60 days. Or you can remove the check mark altogether, and that would then not erase any of those past messages. So just like we've seen with the previous settings, any settings that you want to keep, you want to make sure you're selecting post in the top right-hand corner in order to save those changes.